Well, welcome to Season 7 recap of Camp Monsters.
Ladies and gentlemen, Nick Patri, the sound designer of Camp Monsters podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, Weston Davis, the writer and host of Camp Monsters podcast. We wanted to do a quick overview of the season that was. We did one of these last year, and I think people, enjoyed hearing our perspectives on things, especially yours, of course. So this season, 3 different camp monsters, as it were, 2-part stories for a total of 6 episodes. When you think about this season overall, does a certain monster come to mind? Does a certain moment come to mind? The 2-part writing style, was that different? Like, what comes to mind when you first think of season 7?
Yeah, it was very different. I think doing that 2-part style threw us back a little bit more into what we'd explored a little bit with the Sasquatch series.
Right.
Where we'd had, and then that was season 3, maybe. I mean, it was a while back
ago now. Yeah,
we did, where we did a 4-part mini episodes, and and all that. And it is a different structure to your story because we're still trying to deliver something punchy. We'd want to end it on something exciting and a cliffhanger, but then you want to have enough material for 2 different stories. And it always seems like you either have too much material, you have to kind of condense it, or we played around a lot with the structure of it. I mean, we sort of had. With the Hopkinsville Goblins, we sort of had similar stories or the same story told from 2 different angles, and then having to unpack what that meant, Yep. And then with The Mermaid of Moon Lake, we just had a sort of a classic 2-part story where we started a story and then we finished it.
Yep.
And then
with cliffhanger in the middle there.
Yeah, with cliffhanger in the middle. And then with the Crackle Hand story, we did sort of the modern day story cut. Go back in time and discuss sort of the historical precedent, or the historical background of the story. We had 3 different stories and 3 different methods of breaking them in half and hopefully creating something exciting for everybody, within that.
Well, that's a great overview of the season overall. And now let's take it a little bit part by part. So this season started off with a video trailer starring you, which was very cool. Yes. Tell us a little bit about how that was, what it was like shooting it, how it came together, what it was like.
Shooting it was so much fun. We worked with Amy and Hauser and some of the other folks from REI. They do a fantastic job putting together their video promos anyway.
Yeah.
And I worked with Hauser before on the Instagram live feed we did on Halloween, again, a number of years ago. It was like maybe 2021. I think it was just post-pandemic or something like that. But anyway, they do a great job setting it up. And it was so much fun. I mean,
it looked fun.
We got to find a way to get you down there next year, Nick, just to hang around, just to be part of the entourage.
I can run for lunch and stuff on set.
Exactly. Yeah, you could be a runner. That'd be great. But, it's just so much fun. We just went deep in the mountains, the darkest forests of Washington State.
Ooh,
but anyway,
scary.
Out in the middle of nowhere. We went out there into the wilderness, and we just spent all day just kind of messing around, playing around,
Nice.
And they had a great schedule. They had a great plan. They knew the shots they wanted to get, but as it turned out, as these things often do, when it came time to cut the video together, they used a lot of the kind of goofy in-between stuff that we were doing, I mean, they made a lot of use out of the stuff. We were just having a good time,
It seemed like you were having a good time, yeah. I laughed a few times during the video. I thought it was, it looked very fun and just perfectly Camp Monsters and perfectly you as well.
Well, and they're
personality.
All credit goes to the REI team because they're just so great at making it natural, making it fun. I mean, it was just a good time. It was a good time in the woods, so.
That's what we're all about. That's what REI is all about. Good time in the woods.
It's a good time in the woods. We had it.
Now let's talk about a good time in the mountains. You did a live event for the 2nd year in a row?
Third year in a row.
In Denver, at the REI in Denver. Tell us about that.
Oh, that's so cool. If you haven't been to Denver, and if you haven't been to Denver REI specifically, it's such a great store. It's in this great big old, it was like an engine house or something it was like the powerhouse that used to run their electric streetcars when they had electric streetcars 120 years ago.
Nice.
In Denver. And so there's this great big massive building. They also have a great big fire pit right outside, and it's right next to the Platte River there. So just an awesome setting, bike paths next to it, and we had a great turnout this year. It just felt like we were all settled in. The Denver team does an amazing job of, again, they have a plan. All I had to do was just show up and tell the story, and they had it all, just locked in. So our sponsors showed up, and did a great job with that. Brompton were showing off their folding bikes.
Nice.
Ultra was there with a fantastic table full of their shoes and really I had a good display that made you appreciate the technology that goes into shoes. You don't often think of it,
sure.
you know?
Yeah.
Asics and Merrell and the North Face, we're all sent a lot of cool loot that we were able to give out. So we had a whole family, the Malulis, we love you, showed up from Wisconsin.
That's
They were
great.
fantastic. It was just so much fun to see and hang out with. And yeah, we had some folks from Carolina there and folks from all over that kind of Mountain West region, from Colorado, New Mexico, and places like that. So
cool.
So cool. Camp Monsters Nation.
I had on my notes to talk a little about sound design.
I was about to say, I was going to turn this around on you and ask you about your favorite moments in our episodes this year. I mean, there were so many fantastic soundscapes to create. The character of Crackle Hands all by itself, I thought, gave you a lot of scope to make all kinds of awesome noises happen. And you did not disappoint.
Thank you. That one was a lot of fun. And some of the things for the crackling sound and if you just imagine like these long crackly knuckles coming out. A few of the things I used, one was bubble wrap.
Really?
Was like twisting up bubble wrap in different ways and playing around with it in post.
Did you use any real sticks? I mean, did any real sticks get involved?
I did. There were a couple days where I was out in my yard here with my sound recorder, sort of moving it through the bushes and the trees. And I think my neighbors probably thought I had lost my mind when they saw me out there doing that. But
it's Seattle,
right? They're like,
he'll be all right.
Yeah, man's got to have hobbies, right?
Dragging his hand through the bushes.
That was fun to do. I love that sort of thing.
The knuckle popping sound that you used. I think it was actually at the end of Mermaid of Moon Lake. Anyway, when we were doing the promo,
the teaser for
it.
Yep.
Oh, my wife can't even listen to that. Like it was so gross. It was great. It was fantastic. Yeah,
you teed me up for that one by writing that into the final thing. That was fun.
Even deeper in these dark woods, something else is crackling. But that's just our sound designer, Nick Patri, nervously popping his knuckles as he works late in his remote Outer Banks cabin, struggling to find that perfect stick snapping sound for this episode. Wait a minute. The sound of his knuckles popping. That's perfect!
I do want to hear more about your take on Crackle Hands.
Yeah.
Set in the Outer Banks, North Carolina.
Yes.
And where did this story come
creature,
from?
Not exclusive to the Outer Banks,
Okay.
I've heard. That was just where I first became familiar with the idea of the creature, of Crackle Hands. But it's the kind of story that exists in a lot of different places that have thick, heavy woods.
Yeah.
But it's really just an outline and just these kind of internet rumor stories that you can stumble across here or there. It was actually my kids that fleshed it out. So
I love that.
I've got 4 sons, and from way back from when they were small, they got a hold of this idea, and they would draw pictures of the Crackle Hands monster and that, and a couple other monsters that we're still pitching, trying to get out there for future episodes.
Nice.
It was largely their idea, so I had to take some of their art and run with it. So
Mm-hmm.
I think we succeeded.
Did it justice? Yeah. Did they enjoy them? They listened?
Yeah. They really got a kick out of it, especially that one. And I think it was nice working in the way that the kind of the Roanoke colony story. Now, full disclosure, I think we're the ones that originated the rumor that Crackle Hands was responsible for the disappearance of the Roanoke colony, but it fit right in. I mean, it worked out.
Who knows?
Who's to say?
Yeah.
Who's to say?
Could
It
be
started
true.
here, and now they can become part of the legend.
I like it.
I want to hear a little bit more about your sound design on the Mermaid of Moon Lake as well, because that had a fairly restrained kind of a setting, but you managed to create some very evocative sounds. I mean, I felt like, oh yeah, we are, we're high in the mountains, we're on a lake, and all these strange things are happening. You did a really good job with that. The water sounds especially were compelling.
Thank you. Yeah, that is what comes to mind, is the difference between sort of when we're above the water and we're not really sure what's going on, and then when we're underwater and there's like monsters coming up out of nowhere. So creating that differential in the sound design was fun, and I think makes the story a bit more like you can build it more by doing that. And putting some little, because in that story, spoiler alert for anyone who hasn't heard the saga of the Mermaid of Moon Lake, we sort of have a 3-part monster in that one.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're all 3 in 1, like they're all the same thing, but they're all have their different characteristics. And so in the sound design, I tried to build that into it a little bit, where the little girl has her own sound, signature sound. The sea monster, whatever that may look like, shark creature has its own sound. And then the old woman has her own sound. And she's above water the whole time. So she kind of has that, very ominous, like hollow sound to her. Whereas the monster underneath, a lot of thrashing, a lot of like, Jaws-esque almost, bubbling. Yeah. And then you did a good job in the script as well, I thought, with the describing of like the teeth gnashing and like that whole sequence of what does dying sound like? I like that a lot. It gave me a lot to play around with.
You got to ask the big questions, on the Camp Monsters.
It got very philosophical there during that
bit.
part.
Thanks to Nick for carrying that, and hopefully making it interesting for the viewers while I'm waxing philosophical about life and death. You're like, I put more screaming sound effects in here or something.
Yes,
really make it play. But it worked. I got it worked.
I hope so.
What does dying sound like? Does it come with a roar or a bang? Oren just heard a squeak. Oren had to assume that he'd made the sound, just as those big jaws closed on him and snuffed him right out. Other than that, death was just darkness, like keeping your eyes tight shut. And there it was again. That squeak. And a third time from a different direction. So, do angels squeak?
All the episodes are my favorite, and I don't, and everyone that listens is going to have a different favorite.
Yeah.
So that's something that's how I dodged a question in Denver from a listener about what was my favorite episode. I was like, I don't want to pick favorites because everybody's got a different favorite.
Yeah.
But the first episode of Mermaid and Moon Lake was the one that wrote itself most naturally this year. That was just like, got it. You know what I mean? Like that was the one that just flew off the pen, and it was like, okay, just had a good arc to it, a good flow to it, a good build. We haven't talked about the Hopkinsville Goblins a bunch, and that was a fun one too, because I think it wasn't our very first episode using other people's voices.
Yes,
because you have been a frequent contributor. Thank you to that.
Oh, right, I have. Yeah.
But we did have a chance to get my old friends, Bridget and Byron Melton, involved.
Yeah,
and
that's awesome.
That was really that really was very natural.
Great to have them in there, and I think. So what was it, Aunt Lucinda?
Yeah, Aunt Lucinda was Bridget's part, and she did a killer job. And Bridget is actually very, very talented in the audio description world and accessibility and stuff. I mean, she's
cool.
She's done. I mean, she's famous. People, we're working with somebody famous here. I mean, I believe she's done big time description work. Very cool. For the visually impaired and stuff like that. Yeah. So she is an awesome pro.
Yeah, and their vocals were great, both of them. Both of them did a great job.
Very experienced actor and all around great guy too. So
awesome.
There you go.
That was a fun one. Yeah, that was a fun one, and that sticks out to me from doing that one was the sort of doctor-patient scene.
Yeah,
you sent me this old clip. Documentary, I guess. That wasn't a fictional
John
thing.
Huston made that documentary.
Okay, tell us more about this documentary as an inspiration for the doctor-patient scene.
Well, we had a doctor-patient scene, where they're doing hypnosis, as part of the treatment. And this film was made during World War II. It's called Let There Be Light. John Huston, fairly famous director and actor and stuff like that, was the one who made it, and it's tracking the work that the Veterans Administration did with people that were suffering from combat fatigue, as they called it at that point, or, they'd had really PTSD, extreme PTSD. And one of the tools they used a lot was hypnosis, but it wasn't the kind of the hypnosis that you might think about nowadays. It was a fairly aggressive sort of style of
driving,
hypnosis. And so I had to send Nick that because I thought, well, if we're going to set this thing back in the 50s, we want to give it that certain feel of not necessarily with the same kind of, I guess, empathy or, that we'd have nowadays. They were a little bit more production line.
It wasn't velvet gloves.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they So I just wanted to give you a little feel for maybe where they were coming from in the 50s. I thought you pulled it off wonderfully as the sort of driven doctor.
Now we're going to try something. The medicine I gave you earlier should be taking effect now, and we're going to try something. How do you feel?
Good.
Relaxed?
Yeah, I feel good.
Good. Now I've got something in my hand. Do you see what it is?
It's just a pen. It's a writing pen.
That's correct. Now I'm going to hold this pen up here, right in front of you. And I want you to look at the very point of this pen. I want you to concentrate on the point of this pen. Concentrate. Good. Good. Now you're becoming, as you concentrate, you're becoming very relaxed. Very relaxed now. Sleepy. You're very sleepy. You're getting very sleepy now. Your eyes are heavy. Completely relaxed. Completely relaxed.
One thing I would like to talk about before we wrap up is once again to thank all of the listeners that listen to Camp Monsters, because every season I feel like they're having more and more of an active role and active impact on the way we do the show and the creatures that we use and utilize. The stories around Moon Lake was a listener suggestion, and the Hopkinsville Goblins, I don't think it was a direct listener suggestion, but it was a part of one that someone was talking about sort of UFO type stuff, because that's kind of where the Hopkinsville Goblins merges with the UFO idea. Mm-hmm. So anyway, we just want to really thank the listeners for being as engaged and involved as you are. And
definitely all the comments on YouTube, Spotify, emails you send in. If you want to send any more comments, podcast at REI. Is that right? Podcast at REI.com
is the email. But thanks for listening. You really are the reason we keep doing this and get to keep doing this. So, spread the word. And there's no reason to turn Camp Monsters off just because the Halloween season is over. I mean, we do have steady listener numbers throughout the year, so
check them out. Get into the backlog. Be scared all over again.
I know I do.
Every time I see Weston, I get scared. So you can do the same by listening to him.
Yes, you should.
We want to thank, of course, Jenny Barber. Total thanks to her.
Paolo
everything
Motla,
she did.
Joe Crosby, Jenny Barber,
Tyler Grabowski
for the art. He does the incredible art. So check out Grobo. Stuff. He's amazing.
The merch. His art got on some merch this year.
Yes.
If you want to get a coffee mug, couple water bottle options, tote bag, REI.com. Search Camp Monsters, or I'll pop up.
I've got them.
I've sent them to people, sent them to my parents, spreading the word about Camp Monsters.
Spreading the love. And it as I've gotten comments on it walking around with the water bottle. People are like, hey, what's the deal with that? Or like friends of my son on the soccer team and stuff like that, so.
Perfect.
Anyway,
it's cool looking stuff.
It's a great conversation starter. Break the ice, we got to make connections in this world, But, well, let me just say as well, what an honor and pleasure it's been working with the great Nick Patri for I can't believe we've been doing this straight through for 7 years. I was just a young pup when I got involved in this. And you're ageless. You haven't changed even a tiny bit. But it's incredible. So thank you for making me sound good and for putting together these question and answer sessions at the end. And for making it so intense. I'm just pouring sweat over here. Just really.
No, you're fine. And of course, thank you. I mean, none of this could exist without you. Your creativity, your voice, storytelling, knack for storytelling and performance. So thanks for everything you do.
Hey, all right, Camp Monsters Nation, until next year, good night, and we hope to see you again soon around the campfire.
Welcome to the Camp Monsters podcast. I am not a crook.
You can run it through your modulation machines. You can auto-tune it,
The hair on the back of his neck stood up.
Make me sing against my will. I know you do it. You're the Brian Epstein to my Beatles, okay? Except more of like whoever produced Milli Vanilli to my Milli Vanilli. Just as the creature turns toward the sound, just as it begins its final lunge at you, you could swear you hear those shifting sticks beneath you say, Camp Monsters Podcast. One more time because it's so much fun. There's got to be a good one in there somewhere, Nick. I know there is. All right. Woo! Woo! Now I'm feeling my juice. Wasn't that a passion? But the morning means goodbye. Beware of what is flashing in her eyes. She's going to get you all that she wants.
is another baby. She's gone tomorrow, boys. All that she wants is another baby. Hey, hey. You get all the greatest hits of the early 90s here on Camp Monsters Podcast. Want to do both ads again because we love our sponsors so much. Want to make it sound just so perfect and Arissa so good. Every stitch, pocket, flap, and grommet on REI equipment has been informed by the adventures that REI members have taken it on. My fellow countrymen. And now the end is near, and so I face the season's curtain. My friend, I'll say it clear. I'll state my case, of which I'm certain. I've lived a life that's full, and you get it. This is the last bit of Season 7 of the Camp Monsters Podcast. Boom shakalaka for the win, and including a 1990s song reference. So I think we killed it, frankly.